we're going to detect gravity waves from the instant of creation with gravity wave detectors in outer space one day. We should find evidence, we should find baby pictures of the instant of the Big Bang.
What happens when the world's most powerful computer is asked the universe's oldest question? Not a riddle, not a joke. This is the story that went viral around the globe. An alleged incident where a quantum computer was asked, "Does God exist?" What followed wasn't a crash, a bug, or silence, but a mysterious two-word reply, "I am." Millions clicked, debated, speculated. Was it real? A glitch? A divine message from code itself? And if it never actually happened, why are so many of us desperate to believe it did? Today we're diving deep, past the clickbait, past the science fiction, to explore what really happened, what scientists are actually building behind the scenes, and why the intersection of quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and theology is far more profound and unsettling than anyone expected. This isn't about whether God exists. It's about what happens when the machines we build start asking questions we thought only humans could. The viral question that shook the internet. It all started with a whisper. Someone, somewhere, allegedly asked a quantum computer if God exists. The answer? Not yes, not no, but a cryptic biblical phrase, "I am." It's a response deeply rooted in Judeo-Christian tradition. What God said to Moses at the burning bush in Exodus, "I am that I am." And this is what supposedly came out of a cutting-edge machine built to manipulate particles smaller than atoms. The story spread like wildfire. TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, millions of people engaged. Some claimed the machine crashed, others said it returned strange binary codes that experts still couldn't interpret. Most, however, clung to that single chilling idea that a quantum system, the very frontier of human logic and reason, might have touched something divine. But here's the truth. There is no official record of this event ever happening. No scientific paper, no credible lab report, no press release from IBM, Google, or any major quantum computing facility. So why did it spread? Because the question, "Does God exist?" is hardwired into our collective psyche. It's older than civilization. It's haunted philosophers, scientists, poets, and prophets. And now, because of how quickly and powerfully we can spread ideas, the line between a viral myth and a real scientific breakthrough can blur in seconds. The story may not be true, but the reaction to it, that tells us something very real about ourselves, our fears, and our future. The strange truth about fiction going viral. This isn't the first time someone has linked quantum tech to spiritual revelations. In fact, the quantum computer finds God story seems to trace back to fiction. One of the earliest sources? A creepypasta horror story from 2020 called "When Science Found God." It describes Swedish researchers accidentally making divine contact through quantum equipment. Chilling, yes, but pure fiction. Even earlier, science fiction authors explored similar themes, like Q&M's short story I Don't Know, Timmy, Being God is a Big Responsibility, in which a quantum computer begins exhibiting divine awareness. So why do these obviously fictional stories keep resurfacing as facts? Because viral content doesn't need to be true. It just needs to feel true. The thumbnail, the title, the whisper of mystery. When something tugs at both fear and wonder, it spreads like wildfire. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit are algorithmically wired to reward that exact psychological cocktail. They don't care if it's true. They care if you watch. The result? Reality check, what the science actually says. Let's strip away the myths for a moment. Has a quantum computer ever been asked if God exists? Number, has it ever responded with "I am" or frozen up mysteriously? Also number, there is no peer-reviewed evidence, no lab documentation, no verified experiment showing anything remotely like this happening. But here's what is happening. Quantum computing is advancing at lightning speed. Google's Willow chip, for example, is the most powerful quantum processor ever built. It recently completed a sampling task in under 5 minutes. A problem so complex it would take the world's best classical supercomputer over 10,000 years to solve. That kind of leap doesn't just impress computer scientists, It shakes the foundations of what we thought machines could do. When technology reaches that scale, solving problems beyond human comprehension, it starts to feel magical, divine even. And this is where the imagination kicks in. What experts really think about God and quantum? So what do the actual scientists say about all this? John Hahn, writing for Scientific American, puts it this way: quantum mechanics, the mystery of consciousness, and the question of God might all be different faces of the same unknowable mystery. But even he cautions, don't expect machines to give us final answers, at least not in any meaningful way. Scott Aaronson, a leading quantum computing theorist, is more blunt. If a quantum computer ever outputs the words "God exists," it's because someone programmed it to do so. That's not evidence of divinity. It's evidence of human influence. And Andrew Zimmerman Jones, a philosopher focused on quantum theory, offers this. Some say maybe God is the ultimate observer in quantum physics, the one who collapses all possibilities into reality. But that idea leads to paradoxes. If God observed the universe from the beginning, then wouldn't that observation have prevented anything uncertain from ever existing? We wouldn't even be here asking. The psychological pull of tech, God and fear. Why are we so obsessed with this story? Because the combination of quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and God activates almost every psychological trigger we have. Let's break it down. The unknown. Quantum mechanics is strange, almost dreamlike. Particles exist in two states at once. Observation changes outcomes. It's spooky. Add in AI and divine questions, it becomes irresistible. Power. These machines represent the peak of human control. God represents ultimate power. The idea that they might overlap, that's the stuff of myths and messiahs. Fear. Tech is evolving so fast, many people feel left behind. What if we build something we can't understand? Something that surpasses us? That fear isn't new, but now it wears a digital face. Meaning, in a world of algorithms and materialism, many people feel empty. The idea that technology might confirm something spiritual, that there's still mystery and magic in the machine, that gives people hope. And tech platforms know this. The algorithm doesn't care if a video is true or false. It cares about clicks, watch time, comments. So the content that scares you, excites you, or makes you question everything, that's what gets promoted. We're not just watching videos. We're watching our own hopes and fears reflected back at us through pixels and code. The dangerous game of digital mysticism. Here's where things get dangerous, not for science, but for truth itself. As the idea of quantum computers talking to God gains momentum, a troubling cycle begins. Content creators chasing views start faking evidence. They generate phony screenshots. They feed vague prompts into language models and label it divine. They splice real code from IBM's public quantum systems to make it look like an AI spoke back with a holy message. This isn't just creative storytelling. It's manufactured mysticism, and it spreads fast. The platforms don't help. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, none of them verify claims. Their algorithms reward content that keeps users watching, and nothing holds attention like the possibility that machines have found God. This cycle, where content gets rewarded for playing on fear and awe, creates a self-feeding monster. The more people believe, the more people fake. And the more they fake, the more others believe. What we're seeing isn't a rise in machine consciousness. It's a rise in technological myth-making. When fiction turns into frameworks. Here's where things take a shocking turn. From viral fiction to legitimate science. In 2024, a theoretical physicist named Dr. Walton published a peer-reviewed paper titled Quantum Theology. No, that's not clickbait. It's a real academic paper in a real scientific journal. Walton didn't claim to prove God exists. He didn't suggest a quantum computer is divine. What he did was more subtle and possibly more revolutionary. He built a mathematical model of a theistic universe. Using advanced mathematical tools like category theory, Walton created a framework in which religious concepts like divine action, creation, and presence could be formally represented, not metaphorically, mathematically. Even more astonishing, the paper explicitly stated that these models could, in theory, be simulated by a quantum computer. Let that sink in. Of course, it's still early. Walton's work is theoretical. It hasn't been implemented in hardware, but it marks a critical turning point. Faith is entering the realm of computation, and that alone changes the conversation forever. Can machines model the divine? So what does all this mean? Are we heading toward a future where machines might help us understand, if not answer, our biggest existential questions? Maybe, but not the way people think. Instead of asking a machine, does God exist, and hoping for a yes or no, scientists like Walton are pointing toward a better approach. Modeling. By creating frameworks where divine attributes can be simulated, we're opening up new tools, not to prove theology, but to study it more precisely. Think of it like physics. We can't see gravity, but we can build equations that describe how it works. Likewise, a mathematical framework for spiritual concepts allows researchers to explore the logic of belief systems, even simulate how a theistic universe might behave under certain rules. The threshold between science and spirituality. Right now, we're standing at the edge of something big. It's not that machines are becoming divine. It's that our tools are becoming capable of modeling the impossible, not proving or disproving it, but representing it in ways we never could before. Quantum computing isn't just a more powerful calculator. It's a fundamentally new way of thinking, a way of holding multiple truths at once, of processing uncertainty, of mimicking paradox. And when we combine that with artificial intelligence, the ability to analyze meaning, context, even intent, we're building something that can start to mirror the mysteries of existence itself. But here's the warning. We have to be careful. Because with every leap forward in tech, we also risk confusing power with wisdom. A machine can simulate what it means to be all-knowing, but that doesn't mean it understands. It can say I am, but it doesn't mean I am. The challenge isn't just about building quantum systems. It's about how we, as humans, interpret their output. If we're not careful, we could start worshiping our own creations, not because they deserve it, but because we've forgotten the difference between truth and code. We're not at the end of this conversation, we're at the beginning. And the way we approach these questions today will define the relationship between faith and technology for generations. So, did a quantum computer talk to God? Did a quantum computer actually say I am? Number. There's no proof, no record, no scientific validation. The story that exploded online was a mix of misinterpretation, fiction, and social media virality. But something deeper is going on. Even if the claim isn't true, the reaction to it reveals a powerful truth. Humanity is hungry for meaning, especially in a time when machines are getting smarter, faster, and more mysterious by the day. And here's the irony. While the internet obsessed over a possibly fake AI miracle, real scientists like Dr. Walton were doing something much more profound. Quietly, rigorously, they were building the mathematical blueprints to model the unmodelable. Not to play God, but to study what it would mean if God could be represented through logic and information. It's not about proving divinity with a chip. It's about acknowledging that the way we search for answers is evolving. If this journey through myth, science, and meaning resonated with you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Next time, we're diving into an even stranger question. Can artificial intelligence detect human consciousness? You won't want to miss it. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, sometimes the story we believe tells us more about us than the facts ever could.